They hired a new CFO from the Pepsi company. We have Hugh Johnston is joining the fray. That's what she said.
High school was wonderful for him.
I trust Pat's analysis when it comes to Hugh Johnston. I'm certain that he's great at what he did with Pepsi.
Welcome, Walt Disney World fans, to another episode of the Notcast, presented by NotClub33.com. This week on the show, is Disney setting up their succession plans of CEO Bob Iger? We'll get into that, but first, let's say hello to all our veterans out there in the audience. Thank you for your service and happy Veterans Day. Speaking of veterans, say hello to Air Force vet, Mrs. Becky Wells.
What's up?
Pat Neestad is also with us.
What's up?
And so is the Disney cynic, Mr. Bobby Burchens.
Can I make a request for just like the rest of this month? Can we just not play Mariah Carey? Like any Mariah Carey at this point. We're just going to be oversaturated.
None of us.
People,
we're
not.
No, we're
yeah,
not.
Isn't
but
it happening?
people are.
It's a weird request, but let's go.
I'm with it.
Play it.
Well, rest of the month.
I mean, sure.
As soon as you're done with Thanksgiving dinner, you can turn it on.
Perfect.
But you finish your turkey first. God damn.
Are you asking the audience? Or are you asking us
I'm asking everyone.
within the Notcast?
Society.
Does not exist in my library of any music, so
Well, that's good.
pretty fine.
Cheers to that.
4 for 4. It's a good start.
Well, recent news this week, not only did we get another quarter of financial reporting from Walt Disney World, they hired a new CFO from the Pepsi company, as Bobby would put it, Mr. Outside Hire that he said in previous episodes. We have Hugh Johnston is joining the fray. That's what she
I
said.
bet he had an awesome childhood. High school was wonderful for him. And he's made up for it by raking in the dollars for it.
Yeah.
So.
Selling sugar water to the masses has been well for him.
Not
But
just
now
sugar water, snacks.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, that's true. They own
Snacks.
Frito-Lay.
Lots of
Got
snacks.
now.
Yes. So,
Really shitty soda. Damn.
Well,
Pat, you tend to dive into these things for us, Pat. So we'll throw things over to you to start us off. What are your thoughts on the hire and the latest financial reports from Walt Disney World?
so the hire, I think, is a good hire. I think he's all about getting value out of the brands, and that's what he did for Pepsi over the last, I guess it was 20 years. But another important thing is that during his tenure at Pepsi, Nelson Peltz, we all know who he is, right? The guy who's starting a proxy war with Disney. He did the same thing with Pepsi, and this guy was in charge and kind of steered the ship for Pepsi. And he's known as probably one of the best financial guys around. Right. So
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good thing. And people thinking he's going to be the next CEO, that I don't see that. He's a financial guy, period. Yeah.
Okay.
He's about driving value for the
tried
company.
that before.
That's true.
I just don't see him being the CEO. I don't think that's why they brought him in. So,
Yeah.
but as far as the financials go, I think for what we care about, the experience division, the parks, it jumped 13%. Right? So about $8.16 billion, and 66% of that came from the parks alone. So, I mean, that's a huge driver. And one of the big things that Iger said is that he has four main things that they want to, as they go forward, they want to do, and that's turbocharge the parks experience division. And as parks being 66% of that business, I think you're going to see significant money put into the parks.
Well, they said 17 or 18 billion just at Disney World alone. They've said that previously, coming to those parks in the next 10 years. Is this do you think this is a new just focus, doubling down on what they said, or is this in addition to that?
No, I think it's just doubling down, especially with the hire of Johnston. I mean, this guy is going to take he knows what makes Disney money, and that's the
Yeah.
parks, right? The parks are
Okay.
the biggest driver, and they're going to find a way to get the most value out of the parks and get more money from the parks.
Okay.
So that's what
I
I
know
see going forward.
on Monday, for those of you watching, you'll be able to tune into Cynics on Disney podcast to get an elongated version of this discussion with Pat, Bobby, and Amanda on Cynics on Disney podcast. So I'll link the podcast to the show notes down below. Bobby,
Subscribe, rate, and review.
what are your thoughts on the latest from the Disney company?
All right. So 2 things. One, I trust Pat's analysis when it comes to Hugh Johnston. I'm certain that he's great at what he did with Pepsi. God forbid that I sound, ridiculous to it. I'd rather it have been the Coke CFO.
Jesus.
I know, because now you can keep your precious soda with its same financial stability that whatever it has now. You're totally fine. You've taken the competitor. You should be more than happy.
Yeah, I'm fine with soda. What I'm getting at is I'm actually trying to cut it out of my diet, if I'm being honest with you. So I don't care if it goes away. My point is though, that whenever I hear the words value maximizing, I don't hear things like price cutting or incentives to drive customer loyalty or any of the things that I would like to hear as a consumer of Disney parks in particular, because all I hear is, well, they're gonna try to jack up the rates on resorts tickets and in fact retract services along with it. So that's what I hear out of something like that. And I also happen to think that whenever they say that they're going to be investing in the theme parks, I don't necessarily know that they mean America. I know that they've, really claimed that $18 billion mark. Haven't seen $1 come out yet. And I don't think we will for a couple more years here at the very least. But Iger in particular has had a mission over in China when it comes to the Disney theme parks, opening 2 of them. So that's where I see the money.
Well, that's an interesting point. You said you haven't seen dollar run, and we really, as far as a large capital expenditure goes, we haven't seen those plans yet in Orlando. But Becky, is that something for you that says that they're really going to be planning something big, maybe possibly like a 5th gate?
I mean, how much of this is in R&D right now? We're never going to know that right away. We talked about this before, where there's so much behind the scenes that never makes it off the cutting room floor. Like, you're never going to know when they started the next big thing until a few years after, and then there's been a documentary they've been making the whole time. Like, it takes a lot of time. Like, COVID aside, how long it took to do the things that they announced, forever ago. But how long before they announced it had they been already working on it? Like, on the Behind the Attraction, the next season that's out right now on Disney Plus, there's there's a lot of eye-opener things on there. Like, apparently they had planned the Frozen ride before the movie even came out, and I had no idea because I was there right after the movie came out, and we were like, why is there nothing to go with this movie? There was nothing except a Run Disney Race plastic bag that had the logo on it. And we were like, my kids were like, we would buy something, but it doesn't exist. And so, but then to find out that like it just took forever. Yeah. And then they came out with something that ended up being, for the time, a pretty advanced, set of technology, right?
The faces and everything. Yeah.
I kind of keep that kind of stuff in the back of my head. Like, we haven't seen any of that money immediately being applied, but I have to think, with how many people work on these projects well before anybody else knows about it, some of that money is being siphoned that way. And then as far as the China parks comment, like, the international parks, they're so heavily funded by not Disney. Why the hell wouldn't you have
that like China park's 51% owned by China?
Yeah, like they don't. That's why they get the better stuff. Is Disney's not really paying for most of that shit. So,
but they're also not raking in the same profit levels as they would off an American or.
But that doesn't have to
European
matter as much because.
Well, if you have
if they're not putting
that's underperforming compared to the rest
of
them, then you might have to invest even more heavily into that to double the business that's going.
Profit margin though on your 49% investment.
I think a lot of this might have to do with how Tron was announced. I think they're taking a page out of Universal's book. Universal announces stuff when they get a shovel in the ground, or they'll be raking stuff up, and they've already cleared the area and haven't said anything, and then a year later they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be this, and
Mhm.
Disney will tell you, hey, we're going to make this big attraction, and haven't even done anything yet, and it's like, oh, they take so long. It's like, well, maybe now that they're just saying, hey, we're going to spend money, we're not going to tell you how, and then all of a sudden you're just going to be like, where's this empty plot of land? Oh, what's going on here? And then there will be rumor mills, and then one day they'll announce it, and 2 years later we'll have something, and it'll be like, that's the quickest thing Disney's ever built ever. And it's like, well, they've
You'll
actually
see
been
the
working on it.
documentary, and it'll be from
Yeah.
17 years ago. So
Yeah, from today.
So-
Yeah.
Another key thing that came out of the earnings report for when we talk about cost cutting and whatnot. So they've already hit their $5.5 billion goal within,
Mhm.
I don't know, was it less than a year? They've cut that much. So they're going to cut another $2 billion. But I think once you get past that second round of cuts, that's when you're going to start seeing an infusion of cash.
Are those cuts going to affect the Disney parks, or are they for the streaming services? And
I'm thinking it's going to be. I think they didn't say, but it looks like it's probably going to avoid the parks like it has.
Okay, I say
the first
save that
5.5
for
billion.
Save that for your conversation on Cynics on Disney podcast, which, like I said, is going to air on Monday, wherever you podcast, link down in the description below, because I think that's a really good topic to get into, because, Bobby, you mentioned like Disney Plus and Hulu are going to combine. Is that right?
They are, and you
Okay,
would be
so-
eliminating at least a full staff of people
Yeah.
at that point. So there
So
is
you
jobs
guys-
to be cut.
I want to hear about all of that on the show on Monday.
But what
folks
I
will
mean when they
listen on
say turbocharge parks and experience, I mean, Steve, what do you think of that?
I think, like you said, in my question to you was, are they doubling down on that 18 million they were telling us about, a few months back? And it sounds like they are. I'm almost feeling like we're going to get that fifth gate finally. And they keep saying that beyond the Magic King, beyond Big Thunder Mountain, is that going to be another gate or just a land? And
They don't have the space for a park.
Yeah, it's
Not
probably
right
going
how
to
do
be.
you get there? Ugh.
Walk.
I'm saying, like, think of where you park for Magic Kingdom, and then you got to go, like.
Well, you
I'm
got to
hoping
get on
that turbo.
I know
I'm
World
hoping
Drive
that
is bigger now,
turbocharge
but-
goes into DVC rooms. So
We know you do. We
Christ
know you
almighty.
do, and I'm sure some of it will.
or a
But I
resort. Yeah.
But I think if you're going to spend that kind of figure at Walt Disney World, I mean, a lot of it, if that's just the land, you got to figure it's going to be a very, very cool place to go. It's going to be on the level of Galaxy's Edge or something with that kind of money, and then they have still a bunch of money left over to renovate the crumbling infrastructure and some of these really old rides that really just need some help. Some WD-40 at the least. I mean, we got things falling apart. So 18,
Jungle Cruise is
Not in the
$18
budget right
will
now,
buy you a lot of
Steve.
duct
Back
tape.
off. Yeah.
Oh man.
Can I throw my batshit crazy theory out there for where their next park's going to be?
Let us know.
Australia.
Down under.
Yeah.
I think the turbocharge, what was it? Turbo infusion, whatever. We were talking about that being cruise line also, like that giant ass ship that they bought. That's going to be Singapore. That's going to be Asia. That's going to cruise over there. Like that's
I thought it
the
was
thought
coming to the
process.
States. No?
Turbocharging growth.
I think
That's not
that
corporate jargon.
There's been the
That's what
cry
she
for
said.
the Pacific cruises more than they're doing the first round of them this year. Like right now,
Yeah.
it's the first inaugural thing, and I'm pretty positive they have that for 2025, 2024, 2025 as well. And then they're going to have that new ship whenever that's done being refitted, and then also the Treasure is coming, which that will stay domestic to Caribbean and things like that. But like, I think that allows for them to expand into other markets. Maybe, I mean, who wouldn't want to take a cruise that goes to multiple other countries and possible theme parks? Like get you there. I don't know. It's a gateway. There's a huge market for it, even if we're not talking people from America going on these cruises overall. But I mean,
that'd be huge.
And under the experiences umbrella, if it was, that was when we were talking about that's what came to mind first for me was the expansion of their super successful Disney Cruise Line moving it.
Yeah.
A
So-
long cruise that takes you around through the Asian parks, then you don't have to find a place to stay because you're just on the boat and stuff. I mean, it could
Dude,
happen.
sign me up.
Yeah. I'm sure
Let's
it won't
go.
be cheap. And if they hadn't thought of that
All right.
already, which they probably have, the bells are going off in Niagara's Head right now. So,
Just
all right.
wait
So,
for your
ideas.
check.
so to clarify, we don't think this is a succession plan. This is just going to be a straight CFO, and we're waiting for the player to be named later for the Iger successors. What you're saying, Pat?
Absolutely, that's the case.
Yeah, for
right.
sure. He's just going to be that guy that goes with that successor, the new CEO.
All right. Well,
Be his man, his right hand man. So,
Consigliere.
those things yet to be seen. What are your thoughts? Let us know down in that comment section below. What do you think is going to happen with the with these announcements in this latest earning? Is this all going to come to United States? Is it going to go overseas? Let us know what you think down below. If you like this video, hit that like button. It really helps us out in the algorithm here with YouTube, and consider subscribing because it's free to do so, and it really helps out our channel. For everybody here at Not Club 33, have a great day. Peace.
Attention all visitors from Galaxy M31. Please keep forward-facing tentacles clear of oncoming vehicles. Thank you.